What do you want to do? Where do you want to go with this next?
We got Tubby, and then we're going to do an AFC North roundup. Tubby's pick right now.
AFC North roundup coming up in about 4 minutes. All right, guaranteed to be outstanding and shocking web video here for you. Tubby Dog, what up, Big TD?
What's up, my man? Nice hairdo today. Looking good.
Thanks. Can you guys hear me okay?
No, you might want to drop the mic around your mouth.
How about now?
Oh, much better.
Outstanding. Technology
Right. Yeah,
that's
I had to
finest.
change my, I don't know, computer setup. So, yeah, this freaking sucks. Like really bad. So, Saturday night, I get a phone call. There's supposed to be like 20 of us going over, right?
Right.
I get a phone call. Hey, the weather's going to be bad, so 3 of us aren't going.
Oh, no.
Right. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll just keep an eye on it. I'll make a decision in the morning. I get up in the morning, and it's not so good. It's no bueno. So I'm like, all right, what do you want to do? I call the other 2 guys that are going to ride in my truck, and they're like, dude, we could probably make it over there, but getting back home is going to be a biatch, so we're not going to go. And I'm like, all right, screw it, I'll stay home. So then we had this plan. We were going to meet down at my local VFW. They were going to have a color wars, which is basically everybody wears their Browns gear, everybody wears their Steelers gear, and then we get judged, and it's a big fun time, right?
Yeah.
So I'm all set to go do that, and I drop the kids off at church. No big deal. Everything's going fine. And then I get a frantic phone call from my mother who says my son fell and gashed his head open, and I need to take him to the hospital.
Oh, man.
So 3 hours later and 6 stitches, I got to see a grand sum total of 3 plays of that game.
You might be the winner still.
Huh?
You may still be the winner of a better day. At least you got to spend time with your son.
Yeah, that's what I told him. I was like, buddy, if you wanted me to hang out with you, you don't have to gash your head open. But, you know, I mean, this is just stupid. It's friggin' stupid. It is a rivalry, first of all, because this whole not a rivalry thing, that's bullshit. Okay, let's just cut the fucking crap. It's bullshit.
Okay.
And then on top of that, okay, it's mainly between the fans. Granted, it might not be on the field, but if you look over the entire history of the Browns Steelers, there's these lulls. It kind of goes in a wave where one team's on top and one team's low. So you'll have this. Sooner or later, we'll come back out, right? I'm hoping.
Right. Yeah, we're
anyway,
hoping. Sooner or later.
The Browns are not that far away. With the current Browns team, it's kind of like boxing. You got a jab to set up the right hook and knock the guy out, right?
Right.
We have the jab down. Our defense is fairly friggin' good. The problem is the defense knows that we don't have a right hook. There's no power. There's no power in our offense whatsoever. And Hoyer went down. They had 7 weeks. 7 friggin' weeks to get another quarterback. And they didn't do it. So I lay this completely at the feet of Mike Lombardi and Joe Banner. That's just the reason. Because they know that Whedon can't manage this offense correctly. He has no touch on his ball. He throws hard every single throw. It doesn't matter if it's a 2-yard throw or a 40-yard throw. The guy throws it just as hard. I've seen him at practice, and you could hear it when the guys would catch the ball. You could hear there's an audible thwack when the guys catch it because he's throwing that stinking hard.
Especially when it's that cold. Tubby, we're pushing up against time a little bit. Give us the Tubby dance. I hope your son feels better today, and just give us the Tubby dance, and we're out of here.
All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you.
Thanks, Tubby. Thank you. Tubby was fired up during the game yesterday. All right, now we're going to do our AFC Roundup. Is that where we're going next?
Isn't that what you
AFC
used to do back in the day?
What?
You drop the kids off at church and you go to the VFW and start swilling down and watching the Browns. That's a religion that only Browns fans can understand right there. Kids, go off and find God. I'm going to the VFW to watch the Browns. We'll meet after the show. That's outstanding.
All right, let's do our AFC North Roundup. We'll get back with, let's see, in our Roundup today, we'll use Matt Lodi from Steelers Gab, who's always a good friend of the show, and it was good to see him at the game yesterday. We'll also bring in Garrett Downing from Ravens.com here in just a second. We're going to start with you, Matt. I told you last week that I thought the Steelers could run the table if their defense steps up. If you get the same kind of defense from the Steelers on Thursday night, I believe my prophecy will come true.
Well, certainly this defense has been more aggressive, and it's actually happened with some injuries. Lamar Woodley and Brett Kiesel have both missed the last 2 games. The secondary played a lot better. And I think that game in New England really kind of, while it showed their vulnerabilities, it showed that they have to get younger quicker. And I think that Dick LeBeau and Mike Tomlin have kind of embraced that. And while they've embraced that, it's been interesting. They've gone on this 3-game winning streak, and I think we showed yesterday again that when Mike Tomlin and Dick LeBeau have guys that they can play with, they can get up a defense that can win games, and I think they did a nice job of that yesterday, guys.
Because you're such a good friend of ours, both of ours, and you're a good friend of the show, and this is how this is how I feel about you. I want you to tell, because we did it to you, I want you to tell Andy and I to look up, use the line, we earned it. Tell us, no, go ahead. We did it to you for as long as we could. Go ahead.
Look at it, look up. That's where you're looking right now. That's where you're looking. Hey, listen, I'll be the first to admit, I didn't see the Browns going on this much of a slide. I thought, a lot of people have told me that if Brian Hoyer was the quarterback or, certain things, other things would have happened, they would be in a better spot. And I don't have any reason to believe otherwise. But at the same time, this has been a struggle. They've lost 5 out of 6, and yesterday, I think early on in the game, there were some opportunities to make plays, and they didn't make them. And I think that's just kind of how this whole thing has gone. You're up 13-0 last week, and it kind of snowballs on you. And I think, guys, you'll admit that when things like this manifest into themselves, we've seen this happen year after year, time after time. It's been difficult for this team to get any type of momentum, and I think we saw again yesterday against the Pittsburgh team that just played a lot more confident, that when they get behind, they just have a hard time making up any ground. And I think with no offensive weapons other than Josh Gordon, you're not going to win very many football games right now.
Matt, what did the Browns do wrong yesterday? From a Steelers perspective, I mean, I see things that I thought the Browns did wrong, but where do you think the Browns could have exploited the Steelers where they didn't?
Well, I mean, the passing game to me was the one place, because the Browns do have Jordan Cameron, Josh Gordon, and even Greg Little. They didn't really seem to go down the middle very much. It seemed like early on in the game there were some crossing patterns there, especially with Josh Gordon and Jordan Cameron. And then all of a sudden the Steelers kind of changed things up. They started playing a little more man coverage instead of zone, and those crossing patterns quickly went away. And another guy that I thought could have actually played a little bit of a part, I know he might be funny, but Chris Ogbonnaya, I think, out of the backfield. I think Steelers have given up some yards out of players out of the backfield. And Ogbonnaya, I thought, could have maybe exploited some of the screen yesterday, and they didn't really go to it very much at all. I think that's really the one place where the Steelers could have been, I don't know, if you will, tested, is those crossing patterns, the screen plays, a little bit down the middle. But once the Browns got behind, it really was, it just kind of, you knew what was coming next, and that's a shame for Jason Campbell, because after he took the blow to the head, which should have been a penalty, I'll definitely give you that. That should have been a penalty that was not called. The game was basically over from there.
So, Matt, we're asking everybody, and from a Steelers perspective, is this a rivalry anymore?
It's really hard for me to call it a rivalry, and I know that, I've listened to enough sports talk radio this week and talked to enough of the fans to think that it is. But, I looked it up last week, and since 1992 when Bill Cowher took over, the Steelers are now 32-6 against the Browns. I think it's 25-5 since 1999. I don't know how you call this a rivalry. I think the Steelers' real rival is on Thursday night in the Baltimore Ravens. I'm sorry to say that, because I'd like it to be the Browns, but until the Browns start winning more consistently, I don't think it's the Browns and Steelers. I think it's the Steelers and the Ravens.
All right, Matt, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Take care, and we'll make sure SteelersGab.com, right?
You got it. Have a great holiday, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Right back
you
at you.
too.
Thanks, you, Matt. Matt got a new camera. It looked pretty good.
Yeah, he looked really clean. Shot.
Maybe he got a new camera, but whatever it is,
Looked
it looked
good.
really good. Maybe just had the sun in the right direction. And we invite everyone to Skype into the show as well. Dogs on the Run. What do you got? A couple T-shirts. We can probably still give those away if you want to sneak in a phone call here in the last couple minutes. 216-431-3820. 216-431-3820 is the phone number. Dogs on the Run Skype. In fact, if you're watching right now and you Skype in and you don't even have a question, we'll give you a T-shirt. How's that sound?
That sounds great.
I'm just being nice. We got 5 minutes left. We're going to go through our final thoughts on this game and where the Browns go from here. Go ahead.
It's tough. Again, you got Jacksonville coming to town, and this is we thought going back 3 weeks ago with 2 division games, 2 meaningful division games, you could make a move in the division, and then Jacksonville at home, the Steelers at home. You were thinking this would be the Browns' chance to make a run and do something. If they were going to have a chance to get into that wild card or maybe even be relevant in the division, this would be the run. It's sad, Andy. And again, not that I want to beat a dead horse, but I do feel bad for the fans, especially those Muni lot kids. And I say kids because I'm older than just about everyone that the Angry Brown fans talk to. They don't understand how important this used to be. And until it comes back, it's not going to feel the same. And I'm empty after watching that game yesterday. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. I expected way more, and Bone Lady made a good point. They continue to make you buy in. You're all in, and then boom, that happens yesterday, and the bottom just drops back out, and you drop back into the basement, and you try to climb your way out again to believe that this can be a football team that you're going to want to root for.
I'm looking at probably like 25 years of going into locker rooms since I first, even going back to college. And yesterday was the first time I really said to myself, I don't want to go in there. I did not want to go in the locker room yesterday after the game because it feels like the life has been sucked out of the franchise this morning. Now, I know things will get better, and tomorrow's another day, and we'll see what happens. They play Jacksonville. They got a couple more weeks. And you look forward to the draft. I hate the fact that we're done talking about the season already. We're already looking at the draft for next year, which drives me absolutely nuts because most people know it's the last thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Browns being competitive, and I want to talk about the Browns having meaningful games after Thanksgiving. It's not there.
No.
Forget it. I mean, we're already looking at next year, and that's where the situation is. We saw what they were able to do on defense this year. I think they've made some great strides. Let's hope that they're able to stay healthy for the end of the year and throughout the rest of the season, and that they can do that, and then we can build towards next year. I'll continue my final thoughts here in a second. I want to go to Garrett Downing from Ravens.com. Garrett, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Good.
Hey,
Good game for you on Thursday night against Pittsburgh. Still in it, the Ravens, still in it, the Browns. So your thoughts on Thursday night?
I think this is really what's going to decide that number 2 wild card spot. I mean, the first wild card spot is going to go to the Broncos or the Chiefs, but I think this game on Thursday is really going to go a long way in deciding who gets that second wild card spot. If the Ravens win it, I think they're in the driver's seat for that number 2 wild card spot. If the Steelers win it, then they're probably in the driver's seat for that, because I look at the other teams around the AFC, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Raiders, the Chargers had a good game yesterday, but none of those teams really stand out as a team that's going to go out and get that second wild card spot. So I think this game on Thursday night is going to go a really long way in deciding that this year.
I feel bad that I'm excited for this game. I am. I am more excited to watch this game than I am any Browns game the rest of the season. I'm telling you right now. I can't wait to see this game. I think it's going to be everything that I'm jealous is what I am. I'm jealous of you. I'm jealous of Lodi because you guys follow these teams. And I'm jealous that I can't feel the passion I feel for two teams that I hate are playing one another. I can't wait to see this football game. I can only imagine what the city of Baltimore is like, knowing what's at stake in their rival. Let's face it, these are the two biggest rivals within the North. What's at stake this week in this football game? It's just going to be outstanding as you kind of turn the page here on a Monday morning and get ready for that game.
I think you're exactly right, and I think something that gets lost sometimes is, when a team like the Ravens comes off Super Bowl and then they're struggling, there's so much talk of, man, it's not the same team, negativity, and man, you guys have seen it, and I've seen it from growing up in Ohio and Cleveland, and when you're sitting there talking about having a chance to be in the playoffs in a really big game, late November, early December, that's really all you can ask for a team, and this is exactly kind of what the AFC North, what you envision in the AFC North too. Tough those teams coming together, and it's going to be a cold Thanksgiving night game. You really can't ask for much more. It's probably going to be a fun game to watch. It's probably going to be like a 13-10, 9-6
Perfect.
Kind of a final, but that's exactly what you'd expect at this time of the year in this division.
Hey, Garrett, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. We will talk to you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Speaking of Thanksgiving, I want to thank Matt Hayes for being here this morning as he got to hang out with us. Final thoughts from you.
If you've ever played football ever in your life, maybe you won a turkey bowl once and you can play quarterback, please call the Browns. We could use your help. Anybody that has ever thrown a touchdown pass that's been caught, please call the Browns. We could use you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Eric, nice job today, especially with no preparation. Excellent.
Thank you.
Preparation. We finally got one.
But the show ends at 8:30.
Well, you know what? We're in the internet. There are no rules. When did you learn that? Last thought. I'll give you a last thought.
I would like to get a win on Sunday, and I know I shouldn't even be thinking about it, but again, I'm really excited for Thursday's game, and that makes me really, really sad that I'm excited to watch two teams I can't stand.
We'll see what happens. There's always next week or next year as we go. So anyways, thank you for watching Dogs on the Run. We appreciate it. Call in again next week, 216-57. Oh, I almost did that.
Oh, yeah.
I almost did the radio number. 216-431-3820 or Skype in at Dogs on the Run. T-shirts for you perhaps next week. Maybe we'll talk about a Browns win. I don't even know if they have a quarterback next week. See ya.